Hi all, this is Skate, and this is the AT2. I love this tank. It's just a bully, and I'd go as far as saying it's OP. That's until it gets rebalanced by artillery, of course. Now, my playstyle in this tank is very straightforward. Drive as quick as I can, which isn't very quick, but drive as quick as I can towards the reds and don't stop moving. If I stop moving, they can shoot the weak spot on top of my tank, and if I stop moving, there's more chance for artillery to hit me. And because the armour is so outrageous on this thing, 203mm on the front, because it has that much, my approach is literally drive it towards the reds and absorb as much damage as I can for my team. That is of course in tier 5 and tier 6 battles. Once this thing sees tier 7, it's not the greatest. It's not bad, but I'm certainly not going to drive it this aggressively when there are tier 7 guns with premium ammunition pointing at me, because I only have 450 health, which basically means when you're not top tier, or you're not in a tier 6 game, you're going to get wiped out very, very quickly. In tier 5 games, you just drive at full speed. And again, in tier 6 games, I did virtually the same thing. But the tier 5 games, I just find hysterical. There's literally nothing they can do to penetrate you until you get close range, and until they get very good shots on your weak spot on top, which is its little top hat there. Yeah, until they can get shots on that, there is literally nothing they can do to hurt you. And I find that hysterical. And it is cruel, because you just drive towards them while firing that very low alpha rapid fire gun, and just picking them apart while they frantically panic and try and run away after firing several shots and realizing, we're not going to pen him. So in that aspect, it is just cruel. But from the same perspective, I find it absolutely hysterical, and that's why I enjoy this tank so much. And it's the same situation on Blitz. You use range and you don't get too close to them, and you can just pick them apart without having to worry about your weak spots. Once you get close, you do need to keep on the move. And that guy's going to die very quickly. Oh no, he's not. We missed the last shot. Damn it. Yeah, seriously though, it's the armor is outrageous. I mean, I'm just sitting here absorbing the damage while picking them apart slowly. Now that I am close range, I'm just wiggling back and forth to make the weak spot much harder to hit and penetrate. Again, while just slowly ripping them apart, shot after shot. The downside though is that hit pool. It is surprisingly low, but obviously it's countered by 203mm of frontal armor and over 100mm of armor on the side and on the rear. Which, when you've got tier 3s firing at you, you can pretty much ignore them. Him, are we going to get him? Ah, for God's sake. That was a bad shot by me. Yeah, hit pool. It's not the highest amount, which pretty much to me means, well, the only things that concern me are derp guns and artillery. I got hit on that nice flat engine deck by Arty, and it pretty much wiped my tank out, except for a minimal amount of health. And look at this. That guy's got the back of my tank, and he bounced one off the side of my track, and he just bounced one off the side of my tank. It is a slow tank. It's very slow to turn. I don't care though. It's just fun. And it's one of those tanks you can nearly guarantee if you're pushing this aggressively, you're going to have more blocked damage than you are actual damage done. And that's a very good thing, because it means that if you're just charging in headfirst, pretty much doing a YOLO run, you are absorbing all of that damage for your team. Literally 90% of my games I have done, or I've absorbed more damage than damage done. Which means that that damage is damage which my team aren't taking. Obviously, like your light tanks, they don't do a lot of damage, but they do a lot of assistance damage with their spotting. This thing, I think it's, well, it's all about blocked damage. And I would have done more damage here, but we've just captured the base. So that is the end of the first game, but it was still a fun game. And, wait for the blocked damage, We did a total of 1,800 damage with 25 penetrating hits, but we blocked 2,100 and got a lovely array of medals as a result. 450 damage. 450 hit points this tank has, and we blocked 2,120. And we didn't even lose one hit point. For a tier 5, that's just unreal, I think. And in terms of damage, I definitely think we carried. I kind of hoped my team would have sucked. And I would have got a lot more damage done, and hopefully that would have been enough to bump it up to the actual Ace Mastery rather than just a first class. But it is what it is, on to the next battle. Now, obviously the AT2 is god-awful slow, and as a result, a lot of people do hate slow tanks, especially with console. Obviously the maps are significantly bigger than they are on Blitz. So something as slow as this takes a lot longer to get to the front line. That being said, as I mentioned, I do just drive at full speed and just keep going and don't stop. So when your light tanks fly up forward, get to their spotting positions and hold out waiting for something to appear, we got a piggyback. I forgot about that. But yeah, when the light tanks get up to their position, usually, obviously, light tanks would hold up a good spot, get some spotting done, and then go charging once they've worked out where a big bunch of the reds are. In this, once they're in that position, it gives you that chance to catch up and then unleash hell. And by hell, I literally mean bounce nearly every shot they shoot at you while slowly picking away at them and irritating the hell out of them. The problem I have found, though, is when I go down the wrong flank. And when I go down the wrong flank and they all appear on the other side, you have a long old drive to get to them. Which is why I pretty much tried to head straight down the middle. Going straight down the middle, you can pretty much diverge into which direction you want. The only downside to that is you could potentially end up with a lot of tanks on both sides of you. The way to counter that is to make sure there is hard cover next to you. And look at this guy. He's literally charging towards me, and he's just going to lose all his health. How much health did I lose there? None. It's just cruel, and as a result it's funny. But yeah, keeping hard cover next to you is quite beneficial, because you are slow, so something can circle you. And the way to counteract that, and the way to avoid being flanked, is to keep hard cover next to you, avoid somebody doing a full circle around you. The other sucky part about the AT2 is the gun arc. You have to try and turn that tank very slowly to get the gun around onto a target, because, well, with the gun arc being so bad, you can't really just angle, set yourself up in a position and shoot, which is why I don't run camo nets on this thing at all, because I have no intention of sitting still. And there's somebody else bouncing off me. Oh no, that penetrated. Second one didn't, there we go. And I'm pretty much ignoring it, I'm going for the one in front, and then I will turn around once I think I dealt with the threats in front of me. Saying that though, the firing has stopped, so I'm going to assume that guy is indisposed with someone else in my team. Which means I'm going to go have a look at this instead. We got one shot in, and we got two in, and there we go, we finished that one off with the help of a friendly. Now I will turn around and have a look at what is behind me. No real concern or threat to this tank. It's quite funny and cruel, but it's just funny. And is that guy still there? No, that shot missed, but with the rate of fire, it's worth putting another blind shot in to be on the safe side. The main armour, as we've already established, is on the front, 203. But over 100 mil on the side and rear pretty much means you're going to produce some crazy bounces from the sides as well. And ooh, there's another target. And ooh, I missed the target. But someone else took him, so it's okay. Yeah, over 100 mil on the sides, which pretty much means you can bounce fairly often. And here's the other downside. My team, my base is being capped. And this tank is very, very slow. So I'm going to try head back to the base, but I'm probably never going to make it in time. But there is somebody else going towards it, so hopefully they can reset, and in the interim, I will pick apart this poor bugger. Yeah, before I was rudely interrupted by somebody trying to cap the base, I was mentioning the side armor. With over 100 mil on the side, even with slight angling, it becomes very, very, very bouncy. And hang on, did anyone else notice those snowmen around the open fire? Let me rewind that, show you again. Okay. Surely they would have melted. Completely stupid, I am aware, but I've never ever noticed that before, and is only watching this replay I've gone, hang on, was that snowman around a fire? Right, anyway, AT2. I haven't really been shot at much to produce a lot of bounces. One of those games where pretty much, how the hell did he penetrate me straight off? I'm gonna guess that was one damn accurate shot in the cupola. But he's reversed into a building, and every single one of his shots since he has dunked, which pretty much means I am going to continue to pick him apart. And you'll notice I've taken several shots in the side as well, which at this point in time I am completely ignoring. There are only 4 left on the enemy team, and I think by the look of it I have just found 3 of them. Now the Matilda has a very, very low damage but high pen gun, and it's also very accurate, so you'll notice he managed to get some shots into the cupola as well, which is why I switched to the APCR to make sure I dealt with him quickly. And I am going to try and run after this guy, and as we do, I notice the Rasenai up in the corner. Completely dunk my shot. Second one just damages the track. Great. He is the last one left though, so I'm not going to be able to get up there. Can I ninja the kill? No, just missed that one. But still, 24 penetrating hits, 9 criticals, 4 kills, and 2 spots. A pretty slow game in terms of damage blocked. We blocked 935, which is still double our health. And we did 1,637 damage with 4 kills. My favourite part about this tank though is blocking the damage. It's just funny watching all those people shoot at the tank and not penetrate. And this game is pretty much more of the same like the first game, except I am going to go YOLO into the town because it's down the middle as I mentioned earlier, and it's the most direct route, so I know I'm going to see some action. What I wasn't expecting is as much action as I'm going to see, and there's going to be a lot of people shooting at me from various different angles. And it still produces a holy truck ton of bounces. And the one thing I try to focus down more than anything else in this match is those track shots. With the high rate of fire, perma-tracking someone is just golden. And when there's so many around, I want to try and perma-track them and keep them in spot so I can finish them quickly. And then move on to the next person who is bouncing their shots off me. But that is exactly how I enjoy this tank. It's exciting to play. You're slowly picking away at people non-stop, and then once everybody isn't focused on you, it kind of becomes a bit boring, just slowly trundling to the next battle, towards the next bunch of reds. And that's the part which frustrates me the most about this tank. I love the fact of situations like this. He's got an auto-loading little chain gun. He's not going to be of any concern. I know he's not going to penetrate me, so I can pretty much ignore him and look at people with bigger guns. And my team finished him off anyway then, so again, not a concern. It's tanks with more penetration or have the ability to potentially penetrate me. Now my track is off here. I'm not going to bother with a repair kit because I'm quite nicely in cover. I'm going to wait, then turn, and then again start the whole picking thing. And you'll see I am after the tracks. I'm sucking at hitting them, but as he's dumb enough to hit a wall, I did get the track this time, and we did finish him off. And again, look at the shots coming in. And this is why it's exciting. It's just shot after shot being bounced off me. That one did damage my gun though. But this is fun. I have tanks firing at me at so many different angles. Just look at the hit markers appearing on the screen non-stop. It's just bouncing shot after shot. And I'm going to repair the gun. Because it's the gun, I need it. And I'm looking for where these shots are coming in. There, it's on the hill. In that bush, yep. Don't sit in the bush. And he has backed off now. But the one thing I didn't know until I started playing this again is when someone's actually pointing the gun at you, it does say detected, so he knew I was pointing my gun at him. And there he is. Ooh! It's a toaster, or flakbus as some people like to call it. I'm surprised he couldn't penetrate me, actually. And shooting the sides of a tank like that, it's a shame that this tank doesn't have the ability to use decent HE, which is why you'll see I carry absolutely none. I carry 10 APCR, which isn't really a great deal, but you don't really need it. I'm trying for the tracks again on this guy. We do get it on like the third or fourth shot, and it is just a case of picking them apart now. And that is another one dealt with. And there is the Matilda. And he is going to be a focal point for me because he has the gun which can easily damage by shooting the cupola. Which, again, he has a very accurate, good gun. But in the position, well, he's finished off anyway. In the position we were in, you saw during that time how many ridiculous amount of shots we bounced off people. And that means that all of those people were focusing me. The fact all those people were then focusing me means that it gave my team the number advantage to then go attack elsewhere. And you'll notice only after a while, a couple of minutes of literally non-stop firing, then they came to my aid. And then they were able to mop up what basically was just bouncing off me. And that, I think, is the key feature of this tank more than anything, is being able to distract numerous tanks for several minutes while you slowly annoy them by picking them apart while they bounce off you and keeping them distracted while your team either works around a flank or basically just deals with the rest of their team. But you're there to absorb the damage, and in this game I absorbed a lot of damage. And it's not just this game. 90% of my games in this, I bounce and block more damage than I do in terms of actually doing damage. And see, this seems really boring now. We just had a few minutes of literally pure carnage, and now I just have to try and trundle and find the last 3 tanks so I can do some or a little bit more damage. But when you see how many of my team are left still, you can't help but think, is there any point in me trying? Thankfully there is points in this circumstance, but sometimes I just go, I can't be bothered to go find the last few, it's too far, I'm never going to make it, they're going to get wiped out by the time I get there. Thankfully though, as I mentioned, well, see, there, but thankfully, a KV-1 does pop around the corner and come and say hello to me. And he is going downhill and he does build up some speed, but he can't circle me as he intended to. Until, of course, he managed to get a shot into the side of me and kill my driver, actually. But once the driver's back up, we can turn around and we can get some shots into him. And someone else has set him on fire, he stops the fire, then I set him on fire and finish him off. And there is the last one finished off. So that's the end of that game. It's a fun tank. That's pretty much the only end point I can end on, is it's a fun, bonkers tank. I mean, check this out. 2,700 damage blocked, 1,800 damage done, and 263 assistance. And a holy truck ton of medals again. If you haven't played the tank, I really do recommend having a go, just for the giggles. Because that's pretty much what the tank's all about. Doing as much block damage as you can to obviously take the heat off your team, and just having fun. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.